Paulina's gonna have a rude awakening soon. What's up, my Days of Our Lives peeps? This is my review for today's episode, March 4th, 2026. And before I get any further into the review, I would like to thank my new subscribers. I got some subscribers off of yesterday's review. Thank you very much. And thank you to my subscribers that have been around for a while. Thank you for sticking around and not abandoning me. Let me stop. I'm a little extra. Anyways, I took notes for today's episode. I was really proud of myself how well I did notes. Up until a certain point, then my manager wanted me to do something, so then I got distracted with that, and then by the time I was done, it was time for the other soaps to come on. But I think I took the rest of the stuff as little thingies. But anyways, Paulina jumping down EJ's throat again. Lordy, this woman won't leave this man alone. Where she got a report about all the energy he's been using in his little lab. She said that she got a report that said that he's using enough electricity to light up New York City on New Year's Eve. And I'm like, is she telling the truth or is that she over exaggerating? But then I'm like, Tori, not everybody over exaggerates like you do. But that's interesting. So she said she's gonna have somebody come and inspect to see what's going on in that lab. And EJ, he don't care. He's like, it's time for the pod lady to come out anyway. So he even offered for Paulina to come into the lab and look around. And she's like, she wouldn't know what she's looking for. And it's like, okay. And it's like, girl, you don't want to see what's in that pod. But okay, I just heard a weird noise. But he ended up bringing up Johnny and Chanel, and she just basically Paulina says what they're doing is their business, not his or whatever. And then she walked away and vented to Marlena about EJ. I stopped paying attention to that woman by that time. But anyways, my phone keeps going off. So it makes me wonder when Paulina does get to go in and see what's in the pod. I wonder if she's going to run and tell Abe or she's gonna keep this to herself. But I guess, well, if VJ's gonna let her out the pod, she's gonna find out. Abe's gonna find out eventually. But I wonder how long before Lexi is okay to get out of the pod after Paulina sees her. Makes me wonder. But that's her days are numbered. That's for sure. So, well, Paulina said somebody's coming to inspect next week. So I guess it won't be until next week when we get to see the pod open and it's finally confirmed that it's Lexi. Because I was me and some other people in this group that we're days group that I'm in on Facebook. Other people have been saying it too that it's Lexi in the pod, but some people still don't believe it because it's not on like an official spoiler site. Apparently, I don't know. I don't really look for the sites, but hold on a second. Sorry, dog's barking. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, I guess it's not on the official site, so some people still don't believe it. They think it's other people like Abby or something. I'm like, um, we'll just wait and see. There. Yeah, but I'll try not to do any I told you so posts. But anyways, a lot of people are at the hospital today. I just realized. Yeah, because Gwen and Kat were at the hospital. Gwen is just like staring in space. When Kat walks up to her, she's just like, "Gwen, hello, hello." And then finally Gwen wakes up. She's like, "What? Oh, hello." And she lied to Kat saying that she was there visiting a friend. Well, I guess technically she's not wrong. She did go and see EJ and Rolf, and then her aunt-in-law in the pod. So I guess technically she won't lying. But anyways, they had a discussion before Gwen lost it. Kat was asking her about her finances and stuff, and Kat was like, Gwen was like, she she has enough money to hold her over until Dimitri's funds are unfrozen. Now that they have proof that she wasn't part of his kidnapping. I'm like, they do have proof about that? I don't know. But yeah, Kat was asking about Dimitri and stuff, and Gwen thought he was stupid going to Alemania, escaping one, and then two going to Alemania when there's no extradition treaty. The U.S. doesn't have that with Alemania, so they can just go get him from Alemania and bring him back. Now you think about it, Rafe and Eli didn't go back to get. They didn't go back to Alemania to get Dimitri, which I think is funny. Hmm. I don't know. And she's mad that Maddie went along with him, and it's like thought that it might be not that they were together, but that it was more of Maddie chasing the story versus trying to get it with Dimitri. But yeah, the last time we saw them, Leo was packing, to come back to do the story about Stephanie. But then I guess something that Dimitri said might have kept him there. But I need to see them. It's been a while. uh, you know, I'm a big Dimitri and Leo fangirl. I need to see more, and especially more in the bedroom. But it'd be nice if they actually get out and actually find out that Dimitri is innocent. Since they did all what they did to get there, they might as well prove his innocence also. And then celebrate with a bedtime, bedtime with no pillows in between. Anyways, uh, what else? Um, that Gwen started going off on Kat, getting all mad because, she's that's what happens when some people are really guilty. They try to turn it back on you or just totally lose it. And Kat's just like standing there, and Gwen's like, "I thought we were friends," blah blah blah. Kat's like, "We are friends," blah 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 blah. Um, no, she's saying that they're the kids ranting about being innocent and not having anything to do with what happened with Dimitri and stuff. And lucky for Kat, EJ calls her and asks to see her so Gwen can shut up and stop losing it on Kat. But Gwen does apologize, and Kat apologizes too, and then they go their separate ways. Yeah, so Kat goes to EJ, and EJ was just asking Kat to help make him look good, you know, because of the problems with the power and then Stephanie's kidnapping and stuff. And then I got really distracted in the scene. I didn't notice Kat's dress when she was talking to Gwen. It wasn't until she went to see EJ is when I noticed it. I don't know, maybe because I was working when I was watching Days, so I was just mostly listening to Gwen and Kat versus watching them. But I had to look up to EJ. But her dress, she had these buttons that like on her boobs, and the way that they're placed looked like they could be her nipples. You know how some women their nipples are on top, not at the end of their boobs. I had Cinemax growing up. Leave me alone. So so that just like really distracted me. So I really don't remember what else. Because I was just like looking like, why would somebody do that to a dress? And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, this is distracting. This is distracting. I hope this is the last episode she has us on because if she's going other places and talking with that dress on, I don't know. But then again, this episode people were eating breakfast, so don't show her anymore until she changes that dress. Anyways, speaking of breakfast, Maggie, Sarah, and Holly had breakfast in a square with poor Victoria still in that stroller. Lording. Sarah showed up late and she was apologizing because she was up all late with Victoria because she was weird birds are making noise. So Victoria was feeling sick, so she was up most of the night. She said Victoria's battling a cold, but we found out later it's more than a cold. Anyways, they were catching up, talking about Julie's birthday and Stephanie's kidnapping, and Holly just randomly talks about how good the toast is. And I'm like, French toast is gross, but okay, whatever. But that fruit and the yogurt looked kind of good. I was like, well, if you're not gonna eat that, can I taste that? I was kind of hungry, but I didn't feel like getting up and getting anything to eat. Anyway, and Sarah was like, we're talking about Stephanie's kidnapping, and you just start talking about toast. And then Holly was talking about, how she's been feeling hungry, nauseous, irritable. And Sarah's like, is there a possibility you could be pregnant? And then Holly was trying to defend, having sex with Tate and stuff. And then she gets all pissed and just walks away. Like, okay. Did you pay for the breakfast? I'm like, did you drop your money off for this food? I don't know. Plus, it's still winter, so I'm not sure why they'd be eating in the square, but I don't know. Anyways, but Maggie talks to Sarah, telling her that she thinks that when she's talking about how Holly's been acting a little weird lately, and that she could, Sarah asked if she could be using again, and so I don't know. But I was thinking, wonder if they're gonna do like an intervention on her or something. I don't know. But Sarah said that she'll be here whenever Holly needs her. I'm like, aw. Then later, Sarah was walking away, and then Victoria just starts coughing like crazy and stuff. I'm like, oh no, what's wrong with my girl? But, anyways, yeah, so Sarah would wanted to take her to the hospital. Where Xander is, he's having an appointment with Marlena, and he tells her that he was doing this to save his marriage, but that's over, so he doesn't want to do this anymore. He's like, he just keeps going in a vicious cycle with Sarah, and it's over now. She has her stuff and he has his stuff, and he took off his ring or whatever, and so Marlena was like, you're seeing someone or something, and he's like, yeah, Gwen von Leuschner. Yeah, because Maggie called her Maggie. I'm sorry, Marlena. That's offensive. Calling you Maggie. But Marlena, she said Gwen Restek, and he's like, oh no, it's just Gwen von Leuschner now. And I'm like, is that supposed to be any better? That just means that you're banging a married woman, which technically he is. Excuse you, review. That's what happens. It gets a little warm and people ride around on their bikes. Anyways, back to my review. Um, and Maggie was just, Lordy, I said Maggie again. Marlena, so you don't interrupt me. So Marlena is just like, looks like, and Xander's like, you don't approve, do you? And Marlena's like, it's not my place to um judge. You know, whatever you do is up to you, basically. Yeah, that's what she tells everybody. But but yeah, when you think about it, Marlena is like the least judgmental person in Salem. When you think about it. Anyways, they get interrupted because Sarah calls Xander to let him know that she's bringing Victoria to the hospital. So they go talk to her pediatrician. I didn't write this down, but I remember Maggie came into the hospital and saw Gwen, and Gwen asked if Maggie told Gwen what was wrong and asked if anything that she could do, and Maggie's looking at her like, no, but you can go somewhere, basically. I don't remember exactly what she said, but I know it wasn't very nice. But yeah, pediatrician confirmed that Victoria has pneumonia. So she was just coughing, wheezing, having trouble breathing and everything. Oh, poor thing. And her mama had her out in the cold in that stroller. Really? Girl, if she's sick, why in the world would you take her out into the square so y'all can eat? You always have her with the nanny or something. So why don't you just leave her with the nanny if you wanted to go to breakfast with your mom and niece? But whatever. And Sarah just felt guilty because she didn't bring her in sooner, but the pediatrician's like, you brought her in when she needed to come in. Whatever. But it was like, oh, sweet little moment with Sarah and Xander and a little girl. And at the end of the episode, we actually get to see Victoria. It looks like the same girl that was Victoria before. They showed her, I think it was around Christmas. I think it was around Christmas when she was getting all those gifts from Xander. Yeah. Yeah, blonde. Two brunette. Well, I guess it's possible for two brunettes to get a blonde. But yeah, she was on Sarah's shoulders, and I'm looking at her. It's like, oh, she's all smiles and stuff. That's one thing with babies. But even though if they're like really really sick, they still look really happy and want to play around. I'm like, child, go rest for a little bit. I know my little nephews used to be like that. But I was just looking at this girl and I'm like, yeah, she is too big for that little ass stroller. That's a stroller you put like newborns in, and this girl about to be 3 this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, cause yeah, she was born at the end of 2023 because she was born like right after Victor's funeral. So I think she started having the contractions and stuff at Victor's funeral, if I'm not mistaken. And he died, I want to say September 2023, or it was in November. I know it's near the end of the year. So, so this girl just turned 2. So yeah, that stroller, nah, that she's too big for that damn stroller. Anyways, and lastly, Tate and Ari were talking. Tate wants to do something special for Holly, take her on a date and stuff. And then Ari's like, "You're gonna go back to the room, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, he told her she could go hang out with Aaron, and Ari's like, "Hell no, that loser," basically. And then Tate's like, "Okay, then they can go back to his dorm room and tell Aaron to go back home or whatever." And Ari's like, "Ew, your room smells like a locker room." Like, ew, boys. I don't know why they like to have smelly shit. But and so they just said, "Oh, well, fine, you can go to the room or whatever." But then she's like, why should she do anything nice to Holly? She's been an utter bitch. She didn't say it like that, but utter bitch. And they talked about the sorority, pledging a sorority, and Holly ended up showing up, and she didn't get into the sorority. Ari did, and Ari felt bad that she didn't get in, and said that she wasn't going to accept because she only tried to join because Holly wanted to join, and Holly was like, "No, you go be in a sorority." And so Ari agreed, and she walked away, and then Holly's all mad, tells Tate, after we were working to get to the sorority, and then it's just so rude for her to take it. And Tate's like, "You just said that you could." And Holly's like, "I'll just be nice." And I'm like, oh, lordy. Oh, goodness. But, she does tell Tate that Sarah thinks that she could be pregnant, and Tate's like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, I know Tate's probably like, "No, I don't want to go through this crazy stuff again." Oh lordy, but somebody needs to figure out, hey, there's something going on here, and the first thing, if something's wrong with me, all of a sudden I will backtrack and try to figure out, what did I do differently, what did I eat, if something I've taken, something I've done, if I done too much, or whatever. So I don't understand why Holly hasn't. Nobody has grasped that. I guess the storyline, they have to go to the extreme before the truth is revealed. But I don't know. But we know that in the previews for this week, it looks like Holly's gonna get some more vitamins. Hopefully, she does not take them because, as I was saying, the seal would be broken on those pills. I don't know. But what did you enjoy about today's episode? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe for more Days of Our Lives videos. And I also talk about the other 4 soaps as well. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, night, morning, whatever time it is that you're watching this. And hope to see you in the next video. Maybe, hopefully. I don't know. But love you guys.